In this tutorial, I will show you how to build a very simple task list that will let you visually track how progress is made on your tasks. It will also allow you to include resources if you wish, and will give you an overview of all outstanding work for each task. Now, this is a very powerful and simplified task list, but if you need something more complex, please check the links in the description. And now we can get started. So you should have a task list. So this is something that you need to build. You can start on cell C4 with a description, might be easier when you have a look at formulas with me later on. So the first column will be task, and you can put the amount that you want. I think I put around 20 on mine. And then you would have your estimate. That's something that you need to have as well. And then you will track percentage completion, so percentage completed. So you need to add this another column. And after, what we need, and this would have a dual purpose, that will be used to color the cells below, but also for you to give you a quick visual of where you're at. So you just put 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, up all the way up to 100%. Then you would have resources. That is optional. We won't do anything with the resources, just more for you. If you want to refer that to a separate resource list, just in case you don't know how to do it, you would just click on the resource, and somewhere else you would have a resource list here. Say you have a resource list on another tab here. I'm using sheet 2 here. You would just go under data. You would just go under data validation. You would click on data validation, and there you would select allow list. You would click on source, and while this is clicked, you would go where your resource list is, and you would select it all here. And you press OK, and now you can see that when I click here, I can select the resource. So that's just an aside. It's not mandatory. You can put whatever you like here. And finally, another final column that we will be using as well is the work remaining. So the work remaining, you would need to calculate this. So what is work remaining? Work remaining is the initial work, so equal to initial work, and you would subtract what has been completed. So you would subtract this work estimate times the percentage completion. And then you can copy all this down. So this is it. So you have this here. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be creating another column here, another grid, and this is where we will put a representation of this. So here I would have exactly the same amount here, 18 here, and I will go all the way down, and you'll see later on how we can use this. We will be using this. So that's pretty much it. Before we go to the next stage, I just wanted to mention that if you want to use the same color that I have, you go under page layout, colors, and then you select the red violet here. So that's the one I went for this time, red violet here. Okay, so now that is done, I can come back here, and I want to show you what I wanted to do with this. You select everything, and then you just go back to the home, conditional formatting, and here you would put data bars. And then you would select any color here for the time being. Now this is done. You would go back under conditional formatting, and you would go under manage rules. Here you would just find the conditional formatting that you have just created, and you click on it and you edit the rule, and here you can do a couple of changes. So the first change that you want to do is to have the show bar only. I don't want to have these numbers because I've decided to put them aside for clarity. And then you can select another color here. So here I just wanted to go with some blue. So this is the first blue from the left. It's called blue accent free. And I'm just going to go to the deep one here for the time being. I could always change that later on. And I press OK, OK. And now this is done. So this is a starting point. Now, when I'm at it, I just wanted to make a couple of changes here. So I go back under the conditional formatting here. What I wanted to do is add a bit of a border here. No border, yes, I will say solid border, please. And I'm not happy with this blue, so I'm just going to put the second blue from the left and put the accent 4 and the one at the top here. So it's just some minor detail that you might not be too concerned with, but I just wanted to have this consistent here. Now this is done. Now that we have set up this color, I want to start painting this. So to start with, and to simplify the formula, instead of having to do a formula for each cell, what I'm doing first is I am actually coloring everything, and you'll understand why later on. So here, I'm just going from the paler to the stronger color here. I'm starting with a very light one, and then I'm working my way to the stronger one. And actually, I might have to skip one at some stage. So I'm just going to go back to the end this time. I just want to make sure I put the strongest there. And here's something in between. This way I can see which one I want to put. What do you think? This one might be a bit easier. Okay, so it seems a bit overwhelming, but as you progress, you'll see less of it, and then we want to put it a bit smaller. So here I've done this, and the reason why I've done it, and I've explained that a little bit earlier on, is that I want to have only one formula for everything. Otherwise, I would have had to have 5 types of formula for every color, but I want to have only one formula. You just select everything here. You go under conditional formatting. You create a new rule here. You go under user formula. And the formula that you'll have will be to check if the percentage here is greater than the percentage completed. And when that's the case, you would put it blank. So you might want to pause and have a think about how this works, but it's a bit counterintuitive. You would usually do the other way around, but the reason why I want to do this is you would have only one criteria for everyone. So, okay, let me write down the formula. They might become more apparent as we progress. So what I want is, I want to have this value here, and I'm going to press F4 until I have $E5 here, $E5, because I want to lock the colon here, because the colon will be consistent for every element here. And I want it to be smaller than what is above here. And here I will be clicking on F4 until, or you can do it manually as well if you prefer, until the F is free. So that will be moving as the conditional formatting moves, but you will lock the row here. So you would want to, what would you want to do here? You would want to fill it with blank. So here, if this is smaller than that, then you would want to fill it with blank. If you don't want to, if you cannot really realize how this is going to work, just copy this and trust me, and everything will be fine. Sometimes it's the best way to do it. And look at that. So it seems to be working. So here, let's just check if I have 55. And it's only when I reach the 60 that he will go another step. Something else that I could do is I could just highlight the tasks that have not started at all. Not that we want to shame anyone, but I'm just going to be creating a new rule here. I'll be using a formula as well. And here I'll be checking that this component here, and here I'm just going to free everything up. If this is equal to 0, what am I going to do? I'm just going to fill it with some very light red as well, which is the lighter red. And okay, so if this is 0, then we can go ahead and let's see. Let me add more zeros here. Okay. So this is it for that part. What I want to do actually is just while I'm here, I want to have some very light cosmetic change. What I wanted to do was to have this. It's a very light color. If I can find one here, maybe this one here, maybe the blue accent here. So that, for me, that helps the white stand out. That's all. That's pretty much it. Let me check. Okay, here I'm just going to be doing the same. Okay, so all this makes sense. Here we'll have a spot for the charts that I will be highlighting here. And then for the thing on top, we can see later on, because I want to change the background as well. But I will be changing the background once we have finished the other steps, so it's clearer for you what I'm doing when it's a dark font against a white background. So next we'll be building some tables so we can input the data in a chart. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show how many of those of the work remaining is smaller than 5, how many is smaller than 10 and but greater than 5, and the like. So what I will be doing is I'll be creating a table here. So what I want to do first, I want to select an increment based on the amount of work that you have. So this is percentage, so that's not going to work. I just want to have a normal number, generic number, put 5 here. So this increment will be used based on how many you have here. Like for instance, here I go all the way to 50, so maybe I need to use an increment of 10. So here I will be putting is equal to 0 plus what I have here, and I will just lock everything to make sure that it's consistent. And then I would have 10, 50, 60, 70. So that allows you, if you have only work days that go to, let's say, 10, then you could use an increment of 2 only. I hope that makes sense. And then we do it in this way. So how do we want to do this? We want to calculate how many, just me put back to 5, how many tasks are between 0 and 5 here for this, including 5. So this one will not be used in the chart because this is the 0, 1. Okay, so I just need to do a Countifs. Countifs. And what are we counting? We're counting the work remaining here. Work remaining, and we press F4 because we want to lock everything. And what do we want? We want to have smaller or equal. And we put the ampersand here, the and. This number here, 5. And the second condition is we still want this with pressing F4 to make sure we lock everything. And for the first one, we'll have greater or equal to 0 because I want to include 0 in this. Actually, I could just put the 0 here directly, I suppose. No, I'm just going to put this way. I can reuse it later on. Okay, this one here. So just in case you didn't fully get the formula here, what I'm doing is I'm just checking how many are smaller or equal than 5. And the second parameter is greater or equal than 0 here. If I copy that to the next one, it's not going to work because I put an equal to 0 here because I wanted to include it. But this time I want to exclude, the one that have 5. So I will have to put strictly greater than for the second one. Okay. So if I drag this all the way down, you can see. And then if you want to have a very high number at the end, you can just put. Actually, this is what I could do. Let me remove this. Anyhow, I could put, for instance, 100. So that would capture everything that is greater than 25 here. So this will be used for our first chart. How many tasks are work remaining is smaller than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I must have forgotten one here. And that's a danger of counting live. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Phew. Got it. Okay. Now, the second thing that I wanted to do, another chart that I would like to show is how many percentage of the work is done, because it's one thing to have a task 80% completed, but if it's the longest task you have, it doesn't really show you the full picture, does it? So this is what I want to do. So let me just grab this and put it here. It would make more sense if it's around here. Here I want to do the same, but here I can just hardcode 20%, 40%. I'm not going to go every 10% because I will make the chart a bit too big. So, and this time I want to put 0% here as well. So for the first one, I just want to do a Countif. Countif, how many do we have of those that is equal to 0? And I can lock it in. doing F4. And I just don't need to put any sign. I just put comma, 0. And here I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it works. Okay, for the second, I have to go back to my Countifs again. Okay, Countifs. If you don't know Countifs, you'll know it by the end of this. And by the way, I don't know if you all have it. I think it's something relatively recent, Countif with an S. If you don't have Countif with an S, then you can do some logical with Countif. You'll find a way. If you don't, just let me know in comments. I can help you. So the first thing that we want to count needs to be greater. So let me press F4. First criteria, greater than, just going to put it this way, greater than 0. Strictly greater than 0 in this instance. And the second criteria is in all these, press F4. I could have named it, but I want to keep it simple. And the condition is smaller or equal to a %, this number here. Okay, so how many? 10, 20, that's 2, and that's it. I'm on fire. Oh my God, I had two formulas that worked. Okay, so this one is from 0 to 20%, this one from 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100. But what I want to have is I want to have one with 100% here to know exactly how many are completed. So here I can just put 99%, for instance, but let me just leave 100%. So what I want here is I want to have it strictly smaller than 100% because I don't want to include 100%. Hope that makes sense. And here I can copy that formula here. Oh, actually I didn't. Okay, here I didn't do it properly. Let me do a F4 here. If I copy that formula, check how many are 0, and here I'll be checking how many are 1 instead. 1. How many are completed? I have got 1 and 2 completed. So here, if I do the total of all these, I have 20 tasks here. How many tasks did I have? You can use the count A, which allows you to count cells that are not blank. And if I don't have 20, I'm going to go for a walk. So it's it. So that's it. I hope that makes sense. Here, I count in this instance here, those two instances, I just count how many are equal to 100%. But for all the others, I'm just counting all that is greater. Let me just go 1 minute. Strictly greater than this and smaller or equal than this, with the exception of 100%, which I want to exclude. So those two are excluded here. Hope that makes sense. And now we can put all that into charts. Now, before we do, there is a couple of things I want to do. So the first is I want to change the background of all this. Now that we have done this, I mean, this doesn't need to be here. We can put them in another. Let me just put that down. This was just to verify, so it's not really useful. I want to change the background, so I'm just going under Home here, Format as Table, Conditional. It's I right-click on Normal here, sorry, Styles Normal. I right-click on Normal. And as a format here, I want to change the fill. And I want to have some kind of deep blue here. Let's just check maybe this one here. Take the deeper blue from the first blue from the right, which is the third one here. And I want to have everything as a background with this. Not happy with this blue. I think it could be a bit darker. So therefore, I'm going to go under more colors and I'm going to put it way darker than this. Okay, so that's more like it. So here, now that we have put on the light mode, what I want to do is, the dark mode, sorry, what I want to do is put that back to white. And here I can start putting this. I'm just going to have a bigger one here. Here I can start putting some bluish background here, like this one, for instance, everything in white. That could be, oh no, that's all right. It's all right. If you feel this is maybe a bit too overwhelming, like this may be smaller. Okay, we can fine tune all this. And here you still have some dark grid here that you can just simply remove. No borders. Okay. Now this is it. So this is the main thing. After we can add a bit of a title on top. And here work remaining, you can just merge those two, so that gives you an overview. Here I have that I don't need to have, but there is still stuff under this. So as mentioned, we can put that in another sheet later on. Now that we have this table, we can do our chart. So I'll just be selecting this amount here, including the 0 and including the 100%. So I will be doing an insert pie chart. And here it is. So here you have the 5, the 2, the 2. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go under chart design here, and I want to select, try and find the red that we had for this to be consistent. So we know we're talking about the same thing here. Unfortunately, it's putting it in the other way. I need to find the red. Okay, so that goes from not completed to completely completed. So if you're happy with this, you can leave it this, but you might want to put the first one, the 0%, as a gray, but that's optional. If you want to put that as a gray, just to show the naughty one, maybe haven't started, and the one completed, you can leave them this way, I suppose. Okay. So what you can do is you can remove this. So in order to put it on top of this, you have the choice. So you put here, you put it. We could put completion status. Here you can either put and this is what I'm going to do the shape fill as no fill, and then you put the shape outline as no outline, and you put that here. See, the advantage of having a no fill is even if it goes beyond, it's no big deal, because you don't see it, because it's transparent. This is actually looking quite good, I think. Obviously, I'm not going to say they look terrible. Completion status here. Okay. Now for the second chart, we can do the same. We can, here did we have zeros? Here we can select the values from the first increment that we have. We can select all those values. We do an insert pie chart. We click on the chart and we go under change colors, and we try to find the same blue that we had. So it's not the first blue, it's the second blue. And to be consistent, we go from light to dark here. Okay. And we do the same manipulation that we done before. We remove the legend. We can put work outstanding. Not outstanding work, work outstanding. Okay. What did I have here? Here I have the 14 no bold. Here I have the 14 bold. Okay. And then formula formattery is shape fill, no fill. Shape outline, no outline. Okay, where is my no fill gone? Okay, so it's just not doing it on the right thing. No fill here. Shape outline, no outline. Okay. I think it might be a bit too big here, so I'm just gonna put them on top of each other to see same size. Okay, completion status. So here, just put a simple task list. If you want to put gradient, you go in the shape fill gradient here. Choose a gradient, but I'm just going to put task list here. Task list for project ABC. You click on this. Home, you put white. Make sure you click on the borders, bold, and here you select an interesting font. Here I just went for the first one here, I thought. Project ABC. Okay, don't need the bold. So that's pretty much it. If you want to put this on a different sheet, you can. You could also hide them, but if you hide them, make sure that you right-click on the chart and go under hidden and empty cells and put show data in hidden rows and cells. Okay, right-click, select data, otherwise it's going to mess everything up. You might have to start all your formatting from scratch. Do that again. So now what you can do is you can select all this calculation. You go under data, if you can find it, data group, and then when you click on this, you hide everything here. So this is it. Just let's get rid of this. See. Okay, so obviously you can do a bit of fine tuning here. But I think that works as well, and this is interesting, isn't it? So here, if I put 50, that gives you an idea of how many tasks are still in the early days, how many are completed. And the big tasks, you can see that there's not a lot of tasks with a lot of days left, which is interesting. Anyway, so I hope this was useful for you. And if you want something more complex, check in my task list playlist, and I have plenty of those with obviously more complicated than this one, but this one is supposed to be simpler. Okay.